like everything is streaming. And is build a PC. We will go over all the details. We'll do it together. But we'll go over all the details and, hopefully we'll learn something today, right? Let me just load this over here so that I can see what we're doing. I like watching my own lives, right? Well, we just want to make sure everything works. That is it. I don't necessarily have like available chats or anything other than the I think docs chat. I guess I do have this Facebook chat. Live chat. Okay. If you've got any questions about this live, just I'm also streaming this directly to YouTube, so just go to YouTube and message me. That would be the easiest way. Um, it's also on my Instagram, which I don't think I'm logged into. Right. Right. It's probably on my phone. We're gonna do this build with a 750 watt power supply. Um, 1 terabyte hard drive, 16 gigs DDR5 RAM, and then a ASRock motherboard, a B850C motherboard. So, decent motherboard, decent hardware. This is for home and office. Obviously, we're not gaming on this. We're not planning on it. Cool micro ATX case that we found. Should be a cool, all in all, a pretty cool build, right? Start opening it up and see what they gave us. So this comes built with the processor, just a processor already on the motherboard. We're gonna take a look at it nonetheless, just to kind of get an idea of what we're supposed to do. And I do have this camera that can move, so the one behind me, or that appears to be behind me, will be moving. I/O plate. Never forget these. They're a pain to add later if you forgot to put them in. We got antennas over here. Oh, just a moment. This is an active computer store, so give me a moment. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Going well. Pick up a computer.
Last name?
Gated. G-A-J-D. I think one of the things you all did is install a virus protection.
Mm-hmm.
That's open source.
Not open source, free.
Free.
Yeah, yeah.
And what, what's the name of the?
Avira. Avira. It's also ranked very highly.
Evira?
Avira. Yeah,
Avira.
Avira. Avira. Yeah.
A-V-R.
Avira. Yeah.
A-V-I-R-A. Okay.
Avira.
And it'll automatically get the new profiles.
The updates, yeah, they all
updates?
do that. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
good.
yeah. You
All right.
you needn't worry there. And it's a really good antivirus, so it's ranked pretty highly. So
Okay.
highly recommend it. This is your computer. It's ready to go.
And
You just need,
it's quote set up.
yeah,
Everything was there before is there again.
yeah. Well,
And
the files are, yes. The files are. So what we do is we back up all your files and then we put them right back to where we found them from, right?
yeah.
Oh, and the battery's already, oh, no, there we go. Just need a little touch. The programs, unfortunately, are not backed up. So the programs you have to reinstall, whatever applications and programs you had on there.
Okay.
Mm.
It remembers his pin.
No, none of that. All that is gone.
So what do we have to do to
To set up the pin again.
to restart first the OS and then everything else.
So right now it's password free. Okay,
Okay.
so when you turn it on, it goes right into the OS, right
Okay.
into Windows. And then we installed Avira, which is a free antivirus, and
Right.
it's going to automatically update. If you want to, and then we updated everything. So it's the latest updates and security updates,
Okay.
yeah, on the Windows and everything. But beyond that, if you want to add a password, simply go to Start, Settings,
And
and then Accounts right here.
when we got it, it had a login for Microsoft. Is that still there
The
for the OS?
No, no, you would have to log in again to the Microsoft account. Yeah, everything that was on here has been formatted and reinstalled. The Windows has been completely reinstalled. So everything that was on here is deleted. The
Right.
only everything, I should say, 100% of everything that was on here is deleted.
Right.
Before we deleted 100% of everything, we backed up photos and documents.
Yeah.
That
Right.
is
Okay.
it. But we still went and deleted everything
So
that
the
was
Google
originally on
files
there.
were backed up.
Anything that was that is a file that's not a program is backed
Right.
up.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Programs is what gets infected. So we're never worried about your photos or your doc. We can back those up
Yeah.
before we. But everything else that's a program, application, the login, that's gone. That's gone and it has to be set up again from scratch.
Okay. Well, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, yeah. But everything that's important is backed up. What we call user state files, files that were actually created by the user themselves. We save those. You just have to install a program that runs those files,
Okay.
that executes those files. Yeah, yeah. And then for Microsoft, simply log into your Microsoft account on, office.com and download any application that is on the
I was
account.
thinking of Windows. He didn't. He had
The
Google
Windows
on,
is already installed.
but
Yeah.
there was a log on. I thought to Microsoft Windows.
It's not a necessarily thing. No, you would have a Microsoft account, which you can use to log on, but as you can see, you don't have to. Like right now, we're logged into Windows without any Microsoft account, just fine.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, we're logged in with a local account. Mind you, you don't have to put a password on here at
Right.
all.
I understand that. Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right. So we're done.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right. Well,
yeah.
power it down so we don't drain the battery to zero.
Absolutely. If you guys have any questions or need any assistance, any help, man, we're always here for that. Okay?
Okay. You bet. Okay.
Don't
Thanks.
hesitate.
So we gotta put our new, I'll use the old passwords and stuff.
For like Google and things, but we have to put Google
Yeah,
on
you have
there.
to put that back
We
in
have to
there.
put
Well, I put the Chrome on here. Google's back on here. I install
Yeah.
that. You just have to log in,
Okay.
the password and username.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of things are already installed. It's just a matter of logging in.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you
We
guys
got
have
it.
any other questions, you
No,
know
we're
where to
good.
find me.
I got you.
Oh,
Good
Thank
luck,
you.
guys.
okay.
Yay. Okay, where are we? Um, need my mouse. Where's my mouse? Right there. Okay. All right. We're back live and building once again. So we'll take the board out, and inside the box we still have like screws for NVMe drives, which we're probably going to need. The Wi-Fi antennas, which obviously we're going to need at one point or another. But for here and for now, I'm just going to close this box and put it aside. Okay, not going to need it forever. Actually, let me get the board out because I like to put the anti-static bag right back into the box it came out of. All right. This sponge thing that they put on there. So it doesn't matter which box you got or which motherboard you got. Usually the box that it comes in is good enough to use as like a test bench. And it's cardboard, so it doesn't conduct or static electricity or none of that stuff. So I usually use it. Okay, I highly recommend to just use it, just like that. All right. Now, a few things about this motherboard. As you can see, the processor is already in the socket, so we don't have to worry about that. But I do want to go over one thing, okay? When you're putting your processor in the socket, okay, so the processor has this like gold triangle on it, right at the very top. I don't know if this is a good angle for that or not. Let's use the other camera. All right, so the processor has like this gold triangle, very top. Only one corner has this triangle, this gold triangle. The same triangle is also on the motherboard itself. So here, let's go ahead and put this down. So if we look over here, we have that same triangle, right? This is how we match the processor, and that's how we know where the processor is supposed to be on, or where the processor is supposed to go, basically. All right, let's tighten this again. All right. So triangle is right here and right here. All we're going to do is lay the processor in the socket. Don't slide it around or move it around. Just lay it in there solidly. Close the hood and the latch on top of the hood. All right. That is it. Real simple, real easy. Keep it simple. Next thing we're going to do is put the memory on the motherboard. Now, if you notice, I'm doing all this outside the case. That's normal. That's really how computer builders build their computer, not in the case. Now, the memory, let's go ahead and get our floating camera over here so that everybody can see. And that's going to be the rightmost camera, of course. So if we look at the memory over here, 4 slots, okay, for RAM. So we can put 4 RAM sticks in here. But you can't just populate one. If you have 1 RAM stick, you can't just populate any slot. We have to actually go through this diagram, which is on every single motherboard, and follow it, okay? So we've got A1, A2, B1, B2. And this is telling us that first we have to populate A2 and B2, okay? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take our memory stick and populate A2 and B2. All right, back to your places. Places, everyone. I love this camera. Places, places. All right. So we're going to populate B2 or A2 to begin with. Now, the memories do have a notch, okay? This is called a key. Make sure that the notch matches up with the slot, okay? The slot will have that notch too. When we put memory sticks in their slot, okay, we don't use the latches. We use pressure. You push it in until you hear it click and visually see it click all the way, not like a half a click. And you can compare it to the other notches on here. So push your card in until it fully clicks, okay? When you feel it fully click, that's when your card is fully in, all right? So that's it. One of the most important things I always say is save your stickers, right? I've got plenty of stickers that I save over the years, and sometimes I'll sell them, sometimes I'll keep them, depending on what the sticker is. Some are pretty rare, some are not. All right. Next is our solid state hard drive. In this case, we're doing a 1 terabyte build. So 1 terabyte solid state drive. Let's go ahead and get it out of its case. Don't need that. I mean, the sticker that comes on it is like extremely poor. Almost makes me feel like taking it off. There we go. This is extremely unnecessary. It's gone. It's gone. Right. Now, the drives will also have a notch. So same idea. You know, there's a notch on the drive. Make sure you match it with the notch on your motherboard. And then, of course, your key on the motherboard or your solid state hard drive on the motherboard. Since this is the main drive, okay, plenty of motherboards can do more than one of these. All right, there's one over here and one over here. The main drive, the first one where Windows is going to be installed, you want it to be closest to the processor. Okay, so the closest one to the processor is going to be your main drive. This is where it's, you know, merely milliseconds, really nothing you can count. But nonetheless, distance is still a factor. And so, you know, data still has to travel that distance. And the shorter the distance is, the faster the data travels, the ever so slightly and unnoticeably the results will be. But you'll know it. That's the key. That's the thing. is you'll know it. And that's really all that matters. You know, sometimes just knowing is really all that matters. All right, so I got the screw out of here. All right, tiny little screw for the hard drive. And it'll come with your usually with your motherboard. So that's where those screws come from. Ah, tiny little screwdriver, friends. Oh, it's right here. Here, I'll bring you guys in a little closer so you can actually. Whoops, that's too close. I think no, I can build like this. Yeah, and you guys can see it so much better. I'm just learning still, you know, bringing all this together. Okay, so this looks like it actually has its own latch. Almost unnecessary to use the screw. Not sure how this would work because it doesn't go all the way in, but I think that's how it's supposed to work. Maybe I don't need a screw here. Well, that's as far as I can. Oh, I don't. Okay. So this uses a latch. A lot of these nowadays will have like their own latch. Um, just built on the motherboard, so you don't even have to screw it in if you don't want to. Just like here, there's a latch. We didn't have to do anything other than put it in, lock the latch in, and we're good. Okay. So the main parts on the motherboard are now done. The last thing that's left is to do the cooling. And generally speaking, if we're doing water cooling, this is where we stop and we put the board into its case. In this case, we're actually going to use a fan. So, you know, we're not going to do a water cool thing. We're just going to use a fan. We actually do a lot of custom builds here, and most of them are gaming custom builds. So they all end up with like water coolers. And then out of those gaming custom builds, we get to keep these fans, right? And a lot of these guys will take, and gals, of course, we'll get like a high-end processor, and usually we get the nice fans, or used to get the nice fans that came with them. You don't get so many nice fans anymore these days with these builds, but nonetheless, we have quite a few. Okay, so these fans, they're AMD fans, but they're really good fans, okay? And they have RGB that connects down here with this cable. This cable is RGB, not ARGB, not addressable RGB, just RGB. You don't need more than that, especially for a build like this where we're not even like counting on having that at all. It'll just add some flavor to the build, so you know, which we can't complain about. Yeah, so I'm gonna put the cables in first before I put the cooler on, and then put the cooler on the build. There's no real right or wrong way to do this, but I like my AMD to be oriented to the top corner, which is right over here, okay? So this is how we're gonna lock it. That's the, well, technically speaking, the back side. We'll just turn it around. Okay. These fans already have paste on them. So this is how I test it. If I can lift the board and it's solid, man. It's not going anywhere. Great. That's how we want it to be. Just that solid. All right, let's move you guys away from here for a second. Back up a little bit. Give me some room. Fan header will go in the CPU fan, okay? And it says CPU fan, obviously, right on the motherboard. So right here, it says CPU fan. I know you guys can't see it, but it's there. So just take my word for it. So look for it when you're plugging in a fan, okay? Now, if we're doing water cooling, it will say pump or AIO, which is all-in-one water coolers. And that's how we recognize those. So if they say water cooling or AIO, that's for your pump if you have one. All right. So check this out. The computer is honestly really almost built. The power supply is the last thing that's missing, and of course all that has to go into the case, right? But other than that, we could literally turn it on right now and install Windows on it. So pretty impressive. Let's clean up and get that case ready. Bring the case up to the top here and start working the case, which is our next adventure. Here's the case. I didn't mean to move the camera so much. There. Right. The case is a power spec case. Okay. It's power spec by Lee and Lee. Yeah. It's a Lee and Lee case, basically. Power spec is a company that rebrands everything. I think it belongs to a Micro Center company. Um, but they just rebrand other companies' stuff. So, yeah, not a lot of math there. Let's open it up. I'm gonna open it on the floor over here. Makes it easier to then lift it up to the table. What do we got here? Bunch of parts for the case, and of course the case itself. It's a cool looking case. Small, compact, perfect for what we're building, of course. This is the back side of it. There we go. So this case is perfect for what we're building. Lee and Lee makes these really super perforated case. I mean, there's airflow literally everywhere in this case. One of the things I don't see in this case that already I don't like is cable management. It doesn't have that back, and we're going to look into that here in a moment. The more we build, the more you'll understand what I'm talking about. Cable management is probably the most important thing for a professional builder in a computer building thing. So, I always say that's what sets professionals apart from amateurs is the cable management. Almost anybody can build a computer, but cable management, that's not everybody's game. Very little room for cable management in the back. Do we really need it though? This is a home and office computer. Not technically speaking, we don't super need it. Would be nice to have, but we don't super need it. Okay. One of the things that we start out with when we get a brand new case, especially, is twist ties. The twist ties are actually pretty dangerous for a computer build. Okay. You don't want to keep twist ties in the build itself because the core of a twist tie is metal. And sometimes, believe it or not, things get a little hot in the back or inside of your computer. And the plastic that wraps the metal core starts melting sometimes or just shrinking enough to expose metal. And then that piece of metal can touch your fan controller, for instance. Scroll down my feed if you don't know what I'm talking about. your fan controller and then fries your whole computer. Happened more than once, so it's not like, oh, it happened once and I want to talk about this. This happened more than once that we've seen here in our shop. So, as a rule, take them out as soon as you see them, and then just use zip ties. Yeah, really, it's that simple. Just use zip ties for the rest of it. Yep, yep, yep. All right, so case, board. Obviously, board has to go into the case. Before we do that, though, it is the I/O plate. Okay, that's the plate that covers all the holes in the back and fits your motherboard perfectly. A lot of cases or a lot of motherboards today come with this already built in. Hey, how you doing? We'll take a quick pause. Be back momentarily. What's up, man? All right, we are back. Sorry about that. I had to do a bit of workout there. Right, I/O plate goes on the very back, and the hole obviously is a perfect fit for this hole back here. You do have to like push it in because it clicks in with pressure, right? On all corners. All four corners have to be pushed in and clicked in. All right. Once it sits, it sits. Perfect. Now, One of the things to remember, and yeah, I do lean my boards down, so let's make some more room. One of the things to remember is that the back of our board is, all metal, soldered on points and stuff like that. And the back of this case is metal. So clearly we can't have them touching each other, right? Because that'll just short us out. So what we are going to do, or what we do, is we use these risers, okay? And they're already on this board, so I don't have to put them in. But they don't always come there, or they don't always fit the board size that you got. These risers are going to keep the board up and above, floating above uh, the case, so it won't touch the case. All right, carefully set your board on. And now the board should match the I/O plate that we just put in like 5 seconds ago. There we go. Perfect. Now, all the screws for this motherboard, they come with the case itself. So this bag contains all the screws needed to screw this in. Let's go ahead and get those screws out. Since we don't need the box here, let me get the box out of here. I dump them all on the table. That's right. Just dump all the screws onto the table. All right. Um, Now we're finally in. Yeah, we got all the screws. We got the board in. Look at that. We're making headway. Okay. Find the screws for your motherboard. Looks like these are it. And use your screwdriver. If anybody has anything to say about my screwdriver, by all means. Okay. So motherboards will have multiple screw holes in them, right? For multiple screws. But one of the things that I see is a lot of people bringing me their half-built computers with only like 3 screws holding the whole thing together. Not good at all, right? We don't just put these screws in to keep the board hanging onto the case. Okay, that would really only take 2 screws. These boards are not that heavy. But what happens is while you're gaming, everything in there gets hot, then gets cold again, then hot and cold, and the board can start warping after a while of usage. So these screws are also there to keep the board straight from warping. So one thing I'm going to say is don't be lazy on the screws. Put them all in there. Never get lazy on your screws. This build has 9 screws. We're going to use all 9 holes. Make sure it's in there tight. Yeah, I like to make sure that the screws are in and they're in all the way. I mean, I don't need anybody coming back later with issues on their builds. This is torque 9. I'm going metal to metal here. So if you've got an electric screwdriver like what I use, I like DeWalt. I use their hardware tools as well. But if you have an electric screwdriver, anywhere from 7 to 9 is a decent torque for this job. 7 or to 9. Just in case you're wondering. It looks like it's actually only 8 screws. They left one out. One was left out. So 8 screws, doesn't matter. Just make sure they're all in. Screwing right in. Good. So the screws are now in and the board is held together in the case without any problem. Now, the case has cables, okay, for things like the buttons, the front USBs, the lights that shine, and so on and so on. So the case has buttons, and those buttons obviously lead into cables, and the cables need to connect to the motherboard for these buttons to do anything. Our fan, if you guys remember, had one cable that connects to the ARGB down there. So we'll connect that. And then, like I mentioned earlier, this case just does not have any sort of uh, cable management in the back. So I'm not even sure how we're going to do this, but there's always a first time to everything, right? Always a first time for everything. One thing that is convenient, I will say, is that everything is really just in the front. Okay? So, we're going to start here. Let's see if I can get you guys down here. Hmm. Oh, yeah, this. Perfect. I like this setup here. There you are. So, first cable we're gonna do is the audio cable, okay? It says HD audio right on the cable. HD audio. That's how you know. HD audio. They're always in the bottom left corner. Always. So, bottom left corner, and you know which is which because it'll have like a missing pin. So, if you look at it, it's got this missing pin right in the center. The slot will also, or the pins will also have a missing pin on the motherboard. So let's go ahead and take this one and connect it to the very bottom corner over here. We'll figure out what to do with all the cables when we're done. Normally, we would feed those cables from the rear, but unfortunately, that ain't happening here on this case. USB-C, all right, it actually looks like an H. This is what the USB-C looks like, and that's the new oval USB that can read and write at like pretty high speeds. I think we're up to 80 gigabits on that. Simply connect it and push it all the way in, right on the motherboard. Don't worry about the cable management just yet. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. All right, so we have USB 3.0. USB 3.0 has two slots. We've got one here and one at the bottom end. I'm going to use this one since the USB-C is already here. I'm going to use this one. And now pay attention, there's a tongue over here. And the same thing is on the slot itself. So just match them up. Actually, this is one of the ports that we commonly see people smash, like the pins when they try to push it in. Guys, nothing in a computer is made to be used with force, okay? There's no way to build a computer using pure force. Um, why is my camera pointing somewhere else? Yeah, there's no way to build a computer using like pure force. Uh, so go gentle on everything. Be super gentle. All right. I don't know how